Howdy, everybody. Today we're going to talk about a couple of things, and the first thing we're going to talk about is being a cowboy. When I was a little girl, there were a few things I wanted to be when I grew up. One of them was a forest ranger. I wanted to be the person who was in the park that helped you stay safe and made sure all the fires were out. I always kind of wanted to be a forest ranger, and I wanted to be an airline hostess in the sky on planes. And then I also, for a little while, thought it would be really cool to be a cowboy or cowgirl. So I thought we would talk about that a little bit. I've known some young people who would like to be cowboys. And actually, to get ready for this, I brought in my horse. But I also wanted to see how you made a lasso. So I actually read up on it. And I bet there are people out there, some of you know how to tie a Honda knot and how to put a lasso together. And so I didn't do a very good one, but I did do, one that actually makes a pretty good rope that ties tight and is tight until you can get the horse saddled and ready to ride. So I learned something while I was reading up on cowboys to talk to you about it. So let me read about cowboys. And I also have my boots, by the way. Forgot to point those out. My feet are swollen. I couldn't get them on, but I have my cowboy boots. Okay, this is called I Want to Be a Cowboy. I want to be a cowboy and ride a horse all day. I'd rope my steers and mend my fence in the good old cowboy way. I want to be a cowboy and sleep in the big bunkhouse. I'd eat at the ranch chuck wagon, and of course I'd feed the cows. I want to be a cowboy so I can muck the stalls. I'll be the best bronc peeler and learn to take my falls. I need to be a cowboy. It's all I want to be. I'll live the cowboy life I want like I learned on my TV. So that's actually how a lot of us learn about cowboys, through watching movies and TV shows about cowboys. So I learned some new terms. I knew what it meant to muck the stall. So that means you have to clean the stall out, and that may not be the best part about being a cowboy, but if somebody has to do it. And bronc peelers tame the horses so that they can put saddles on them and ride them. So it was fun to read about cowboys and how to be a cowboy. The next one I want to read about has to do with statues. And we traveled back before Christmas in countries that had an awful lot of statues. We have a lot in our country. Every city has statues of one kind or another, and I put some out that I thought were interesting. This is a family, a mom, a dad, and two kids. And here we have what looks like a big sister and a little sister. And then we have an angel statue. And I have some little tiny ones in front. One from the city of Rome that we thought was a really pretty statue. And the other one is the Trevi Fountain in Rome, and there are a whole lot of statues on that one. So while we were traveling, Charlie had an interesting encounter. Sometimes people will dress up and pretend to be statues. Let me take off my cowboy hat. Okay. So Charlie had this encounter, to be a statue, or with a statue. So, okay, looks like I saw his hand start to move. There's Charlie. Okay. Oh, and he bends over and you hear somebody kind of scream. Okay. He shakes Charlie's hand. Pats him on the head. Gets him by the collar. And Charlie thought it was funny too. So Charlie was a good sport, but that really does look like a statue. When he stands very still, he's a fooler. You can't tell that that's a real person. That looks just like a statue. So those are fun. So let me read to you about statues. This is called Statues Have It Good. If you could be a statue, what would you be? Would you be a person? Would you be a president? Would you be an author? Would you be an animal? Because animals are statues too. Sometimes I think that statues have the best life anywhere. They never have to take a bath or change their underwear. They get to people watch all day. They listen but don't talk. It might be boring sometimes, though, to stand instead of walk. Sometimes there's someone famous, a poet or a star, but they don't seem to care about the person that they are. Or it could be an animal that doesn't growl or bark at people who walk by it when they're visiting the park. It would be good that statues never have to go to bed, though I worry just a bit that pigeons might poop on my head, because sometimes pigeons hang out around statues. So I don't know if I'd want a pigeon to poop on my head necessarily as a statue, but otherwise it would be interesting. Or I could be a living statue, like the statue that had the conversation with Charlie. So whether you decide to be a living statue someday, or if you decide to be a cowboy, whatever you do, have fun with your life. And so maybe someday my cowboy boots will fit again and I'll feel more like a cowboy. So 1, 4, 3, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.